Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Well folks, it's time to move away from the short tales of Jabba's palace and move into a comic book series called Jade, Hand of the Emperor, written by Timothy Zahn and Michael Stackpole. You see, after that little short story I talked about in the last episode that Timothy Zahn wrote for Jade, she must have been hopping because she had a very short adventure until the Emperor died from Return of the Jedi. So this story takes place in between Return of the Jedi, I suppose. Now, the only exception to that could probably be issue 0. Issue 0 came out. It was either a free comic book or it was like 25 cents. And Dark Horse did this all the time, you know, to get people interested. Well, not all the time, but they did it sometimes to get people interested in an upcoming series, if you wanted to get it or not. So here's issue 0. Doesn't have much in it, but doesn't cost much or it's free. Check it out. And basically the only thing in that is I think she's meeting Darth Vader for the first time in it. And she's about to go on a mission. So that's all it is. Now, this is a 6-issue series written by done by Dark Horse. And in the first issue, basically, the Emperor puts her out on a mission to take out the last remnants of Black Sun. Remember, at the time this comic book came out, Shadows of the Empire wasn't far off from having been released, and everyone knew about Black Sun. They were the big baddie from that one. And so now, the thought is, well, now with Caesar, destroyed, now, who's running Black Sun? Black Sun's basically crumbling apart, but the Emperor's like, no, I want to stamp it out completely. I don't want any chance of them coming back and interrupting and getting involved with our plans. So basically go in there, stab the heart, kill out the rest of them. And so that's her plan. Now, in issue 2, everything blows up, including the Death Star, not just her plan. Yuck, yuck, yuck. That's a dad joke. Anyway, the Emperor dies in issue 2 because of the events of Return of the Jedi, and he sends that last command to Jade, kill Skywalker. And it's a really cool comic cover there, where you see the Death Star blowing up behind her, and Jade's like, oh, she can feel the Emperor's presence gone. In issue 3, Jade is temporarily captured, but then she escapes. Woo-hoo-hoo, like you never knew that. She's still dealing with the being out of place, like finding her place now. Now the Emperor's gone. That's all she knew, was to be the hand of the Emperor. So now what does she do? Well, of course she pursues after Skywalker. So in issue 4, that's what she goes. She goes out on the hunt for Skywalker. Now, everything's going to change because there is a gang lord that she left behind that's is pursuing after. So in issue 5, that gang lord is pursuing after Jade, and then, of course, Jade has to deal with him in issue 6, which is where the series ends, and Jade's story moves on. About the comic book, what I think, it was okay. It was okay. It's good that they told the story of what happened. It's just that right after Jabba's palace, all this stuff happened, and Timothy Zahn is basically in charge of his own characters. But, whew, man, you didn't come up with that many stories in the Zahn universe. Jade didn't have much time between this comic book series and you trying to shoehorn her into Tales from Jabba's Palace. So again, I've already talked about what I thought about Tales from Jabba's Palace, but the whole time I was reading this comic book, I was thinking, man, this is Stackpole and Zahn. This should be excellent stuff. Both of these guys are great authors. I like a lot of their books, but the thing is, though, when I'm reading a comic book and it goes subpar for me, that's not good, especially when it's written by 2 great authors. Now, I'm not saying this comic book series is bad. It's okay. It's not bad. It's okay. But I think it could have been better if they'd have made it into a book series. Now, that's just me. I'm a big fan of the books over the comic books. I'm not saying there are no bad comic books. There's tons of great comic books that I absolutely love. But I actually think if you would have made a novel from those, it'd have been better. Just novels are able to tell more of a story, more in depth. They can take a longer time than a comic book can. I know with a comic book, you're bound by the number of pages and limited dialogue that you can give in that. And you don't have to describe things either because it shows pictures and everyone loves that. And comic books are great. But for me, I was like, okay, this was an okay series. But man, if they could have made a book series about it. I mean, that was just me. That was me on basically a lot of things that I read with as far as it goes with comic books. So should you read it? Yeah, fine. It's easy to find. I think the trade paperback's easy to find. And the trade paperback, if I remember, it includes issue 0. Either way, it's not hard to find at all. It's not like that Star Wars ongoing series with Ki-Adi-Mundi. The first story arc was called something like Rebellion, and that issue 0 never came out in comic book form. It came out online as like some Flash thing, and that one may be a little hard to find. But the Mara Jade, which there were not that many issue 0s they made, Dark Horse made, but that issue 0 with Mara Jade is pretty easy to find. So if you want to track it down, go ahead. Especially if you're a Mara Jade fan, you're going to love it. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for now. See you next time with another video.